Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, and by that, we mean what's on our mind, because we're Telly. I'm Tyler, and this month we're doing a bunch of movies that are my vibe, which means, like, coming-of-age stories.
I'm sold. I'm eating my dinner.
Perfect! Today we're talking about the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is based off of a book by the same title, and it's about a guy in high school who's depressed and then makes some friends and then makes some choices and then he's depressed.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's a good synopsis of it.
Edit the Wikipedia page. It's about a guy in high school who's depressed and make choices and depressed.
No, yeah, that's it.
This is like the coming of age film of all time. Like if you want the most stereotypical coming of age film ever to ever exist, I think it's this one.
I didn't really like it.
But you don't like coming of age
No, but
stories.
I've seen better ones.
Oh, I just meant it's stereotypical. Like, not that it's the best one, just that it's like the most coming of age. My favorite thing about this movie is that it takes place in like the very early 90s, but the first couple times that I saw it, I didn't realize it took place that long ago because, and I've noticed this about a lot of things that take place in the 90s ever since, is that it has the exact same vibe as today. Like, I feel like it could take place today, but the only difference is like the lack of modern technology on screen, but I don't even notice that it's missing. Like, it just feels like if you have modern day without the like cell phones, but I don't even notice the cell phones are gone. So I'm just like, yeah, this takes place now, and then it doesn't take place now.
Yeah, he was kind of giving what is it called? That one show that was really traumatizing to us in middle school. 13 Reasons Why. That's what
Oh
this was
my
giving.
god. I never watched 13 Reasons Why.
I did because people said it was traumatizing, and I was like, I want to experience
I
that
want to be
because
traumatized.
I didn't know what that was, but I did.
Going off of that, I was watching this, and one of the things I wrote down is, why is my movie month just suicide?
I wrote that down too. I wrote that down too. I wrote that down too. I was like, there's a lot of suicide in your books.
Hmm.
I wrote we both like movies with pain.
I feel like some common themes are appearing about my life that I don't want to go into.
Yeah. Yeah.
The relatedly, without going into a lot of detail, the scene where he's just casually like, yeah, my best friend shot himself last year, and I was like, oh, that kind of hit. Like, yeah, that's how I talk about traumatizing things as well.
Yeah. I mean, he was on acid. Or no, he was high.
He was high, but that's like exactly how I talk about traumatic things that have happened to me. Just like I just really casually drop it in the conversation, and then the other person is like, hold on, what?
Yeah. Okay. The thing that I didn't like about this movie, it had like six different ending points. Like I was like, I couldn't tell how far in the movie I was watching, but I felt like I was watching it for like 3 hours, and it had six different ending points.
What were the six ending
I
points?
didn't write them down, but it was when that guy was helping Sam study for the SAT. That felt like an ending point. When they were handing out gifts
But
at
that
the
didn't.
Christmas party, that felt like an ending point. Their graduation felt like an ending
No, it
point.
did not. Okay, the graduation, yes, and then the plot continued.
And
That
then the
I agree
prom
with the
felt like an
graduation.
ending point, and then the party with the kiss felt like the ending point, and then the suicide felt like the ending point, but that was not the ending point, and it still fucking kept going. And I was like, does this movie have an ending? It's ended like six times already.
Well, it's because I have to wrap up all the plots because the it's like the movie has layers, right? Because there's the main plots going on.
Well, I know how a movie's structured, but they didn't have to like write it like that.
And you gotta wrap up the trauma. That's actually what I like about this movie is there's just like the subtle trauma flashbacks, and it's like you don't really understand what the trauma is, and then you think you understand what the trauma is, but then it's like even deeper than that. And I think that that was really cool storytelling. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Cause you're like, huh, he has some trauma about his aunt, and then you're like, oh, she died and he blames himself for it. That's really sad. And then you're like, and then you're like, oh, it's so sad that the aunt was abused as a kid. And then you're like, holy shit, the aunt was abusing him. And it's so subtle.
The aunt was abusing
Like
him?
layered. Yeah, see how subtle it is? The aunt was sexually abusing him. That's like the final
I
lore
did
drop.
not see that.
Yeah, that's how subtle it is. It's very much like that is what happened. Like, this is not my interpretation. Like, that is factually what the movie was telling us. However, it does it very subtly. But that's why it's like it's better on a rewatch if you like put it together. But like the aunt whispers like this will be our little secret, and like he gets a flashback when Sam touches his thigh, and then he's talking to the psychiatrist at the end, and like the psychiatrist kind of like gets him to talk about his repressed memories, and they like go tell his parents what happened.
I thought the "This is our little secret" flashback was from Patrick,
No.
because he walked in on them gay, and then he was like, "This will be our little secret."
Yeah, but then it's also something that the aunt whispered to him, and that's because she was sexually abusing him. And that the part where it's like, "Wow, your sister's asleep. Like, let's be quiet." And like, it's really subtle, and it's very good storytelling.
I thought that him and his aunt were like besties.
Mm-hmm. They were. He was extremely close with his aunt. They were besties. She was also sexually abusing him while he was a child.
Interesting.
And that's like a cycle of abuse, right? Because he tells you at the beginning of the movie that his aunt was sexually abused as a kid. And then, like, she grew up and did the same thing to
I
him,
thought she
which
was
is really sad.
What I understood about the aunt is what I thought she was being abused by her boyfriends, as in adult boyfriends, as in like her husband or whatever was abusing her, and then her husband like killed her or whatever. Like that's what I got, and I was like, that is so sad.
All of that's not correct. So
That's what I got, because he made a comment where he saw his sister being abused, and he was like, oh, like aunt whatever, she got abused when with her boyfriends.
so when Sam is talking about how she was like abused by her dad's boss as a kid, Charlie's like, yeah, my Aunt Helen was also sexually assaulted as a kid. And then you find out that the aunt died while like driving to pick up Charlie's birthday present, so he blames himself for that. But then you find out that he kind of wanted her to die because she was sexually abusing him.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up at all.
Yeah, bro, you gotta rewatch the movie. I didn't pick it up on my first time watching it either. Okay, it's very subtle and you don't. It's there, but it's like not something you fully put together the first time around. But it's really obvious on a rewatch. And I think that it was cool storytelling.
I will not be rewatching this movie because I didn't like it, and it felt like a circle of hell for me, where just the movie would not end. I feel like a level of hell for me would just be me watching a movie, but it just will not end. And it's like
That's
one of
kinda
these
funny.
movies. They just like keep adding plot points and endings just like this. And I'm like, why would it fucking end? And I just can't stop watching it. That'll be a circle of hell for me.
I like all the plot points this movie has because it's like I like that it's complex and there's multiple issues going on with the characters. I like that there's gay people, even though they're like not great gay people, because that's just realistic, right? And it's a cool movie.
Also, I didn't know that the main character had a brother.
Really, that was also very. Did you watch the movie? Were you high
No,
when you watched it?
I watched it this morning, and I was
It was
like,
At what point did you realize he had a brother? Because he tells you very early on. He goes, "That's Brad. My brother played football with him."
when they were eating dinner at the end, and when after he got out of the rehab.
His brother visited him in the hospital. Like, there's a scene of his brother visiting him in the
Is his
hospital.
name Bob?
And I wrote
Because
down.
I'm like, who the fuck is Bob too?
I don't remember the brother's name, but I like that the older siblings are both very nice to him. Like, both of his older siblings care about him
Like
very
at
much.
the
Like,
Christmas party.
The sister, like, freaking out and calling the police when he was, like, being suicidal, and they both visited him in the hospital even though they're in college. What about the
At
Christmas
the Christmas party, there's this random dude there, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this random dude?" And his name was Bob, and I was like, "Is it the goth girl's like boyfriend? Like, what is going on here? Who the fuck is
Probably.
Bob?"
I don't think Bob was that important.
He seemed
I
like
don't
an
know who
important
Bob-
character. He was a part of the Secret Santa.
I don't think it was that important. I don't really know who Bob
How
was.
did he have such a prominent role in that scene?
Who is Bob perks of being a wallflower. Bob was born an only child and his parents are never home, and he also attends a part-time community college and wants to be a chef. In the film, it is said that he went on a date with a girl who worked at the Olive Garden, but it didn't work out.
Oh, that guy.
He gives Charlie the marijuana brownies, and then he's present when Patrick tells Charlie he's a wallflower. He's part in the Rocky Horror Picture Show productions. He receives the thing from Sam at the Secret Santa and the thing from Charlie, and he's like that important. He's just like a little background friend in their friend group.
Yeah, I know he should not have been there.
Oh yeah, they didn't need his character.
He was unnecessary. Also, I thought they went to college like way early on into the movie. Like they were acting like they were going to college way early on. When they took the
Well, it's because they're seniors applying for college.
when they took the SAT or whatever, I thought that was like them being like, "Yep, we're going to college next month. Here are my scores. Let's do this." And then they just like were still there, and I'm like, "Are they still at college? How are they still hanging out?"
Well, one of them needed to go to college early, but then like came back when because Charlie like was sad, so they like came back to visit him.
Yeah.
But did you like fully pay attention?
No.
Okay, see, that's what I'm getting from this conversation is you didn't pay enough attention.
But I did watch it, and I feel.
I watched this with my parents when I was like 16 years old because I'd never seen it before and I wanted to watch it, and I didn't know it was a lot of gay people in it, and then there were a lot of gay people in it, and it was
like
kind of
one gay
awkward because
person.
there were just there's one gay person, and then he has a boyfriend who plays football who's closeted, and then he beats him up and calls him a fag, and then later the gay person kisses Charlie on screen. So that was just a lot of gayness going around.
That was like minimal gay.
For a movie that came out in 2012, there was a lot of gayness.
Really? I feel like we were already gay at that point.
I mean, we were, but like, I don't know. It was the first time I watched a gay movie with my parents, I think.
Yikes.
Perks of being a wallflower. I like how it deals with like PTSD and trauma and flashbacks and like how that affects your anxiety and depression and like your interactions with people and how like things can trigger it. I think the movie handles that very well, especially considering how long ago the book was written.
When was the book written?
And like 1999, which is like not crazy long ago, before people were like super talking about mental health stuff. And that's something I really appreciate about the movie. Watching this movie makes me depressed, but in a good way. Like same as Dead Poet Society. All of the movies this month, you know. I like the tunnel scene a lot. It has really good main character vibes for me. I like the ending dialogue that happens. It's really really like cheesy and cliche, but it still like feels so like that's how you feel when you're a teenager. You know what I mean? And the tunnel is kind of metaphorical, right? Because it's like light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing, which I think is really sweet. I feel bad for this dude that all of his friends were seniors and now they're all going to college. Like, bro's just gonna be alone the rest of high school.
He'll make friends.
And then he's writing to a random person, and then he's like, I'm not gonna write to you anymore because I'm gonna live. I think so too, but there was also like at the beginning he was like, the person who told me to write to you said that you would listen. I always thought he was writing to his dead best friend as well, but I don't actually know.
Maybe it's in the book.
I wasn't sure if he was just like assigned like a pen pal because he's like was like in mental health spaces, or if he's actually writing to his dead best friend. I can't tell the vibes. The scene where he wants to break up with his girlfriend but can't because she won't shut up was so fucking funny. That's like my favorite part of the movie, where she's just on the phone and won't stop talking, and the parents are like, you have to break up with her, and he's like, I can do that?
Yeah.
And then he just like kisses his crush instead of her. Like that, everyone was so mad at him for that, but like, valid.
Hey, what did he think was gonna happen?
I don't think he was thinking anything.
This isn't a movie I would watch ever. I don't think I would even watch it if someone put it on in a living room at a party. But I've seen the tunnel thing. I've seen the tunnel scene in tons of edits, and I used to listen to this like lo-fi song where they took a sample from this movie, and it's the one where when he was telling Sam that his boyfriend, not his boyfriend, his best friend died, shot himself. And I was like, oh, that's where that's from. So that's the only thing that I've ever found to interact with this movie.
That's fair. I had a thought. Oh, um, considering when this came out, the acting in this movie was like really, really interesting. All three of the main leads. So like, the gay guy and the depressed guy and Emma Watson. You know, the leads of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah,
Those are
no,
their
yeah,
names.
that.
Um, this movie came out at like they're all been like praised for their acting in this movie, and they play like very complex characters very well because Charlie has to be like both likable but also like something's like fucked up about him, and the gay kid has to be like enthusiastic but also hurting, and Sam has to be like charming but also like has like a past she doesn't go into. So like they're playing kind of complex roles for a teenage movie. And this came out after like Emma Watson played Hermione for like 12 straight years, so it's like she was really like cementing herself as an actress who could do multiple roles, not like a this is what you know me as forever type of thing. And who plays Charlie? Is it Logan Lerman? Like right after he did Percy Jackson. So that's like also him doing a different
I thought this was before because he was like weak looking.
weak looking is so funny. Let me see when the Percy Jackson movies came out.
You know, you definitely had to beef up a bit for playing a
No,
demigod.
Percy Jackson came out in 2010 and this came out in 2012.
Really?
Yeah, so I feel like this was also him being like, I can do more mature things. And
Their character was my favorite, but they're shitty that fucking
yeah,
person.
we don't like Ezra Miller, but this came out this came out a good like 13, 12 years
A
ago.
long time before he did
A
anything.
long time before they did anything, right? So their character's really fun, and this was also when like Ezra Miller was starting to be like this movie was like, hey, I'm a serious actor. I'm not just doing like whatever they were known for before this. So this was like this movie was very important for I feel like these actors stepping out of their previous like younger roles into being like I can do adult things, and they played the roles very well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the acting is like one of the best parts of this movie. Like, I think it's really good storytelling. I like that, like, you have Charlie as a little bit of an unreliable narrator because he doesn't know his own trauma and like he blacks out and like things like that. And I
Yeah.
think the story's told in a pretty unique way, even though it has six endings. And the acting is really good. The music is really good. They got some like really classic vibes music. Like I feel like every song in this movie is like now on a teenage vibes playlist.
I
You know
think
what I mean?
actually, I think my favorite part of the movie was like the fight scene. I
The
like
fight
the
scene was really good. I really like how they handled the gay storyline, even though it was a bit cliche. Like I feel like they still like it was cliche, but they still took it seriously. You know what I mean?
yeah.
With like the way that like he's closeted and is like a dick at school because his dad abuses him. Like I don't. It was really interesting to see how complex all the characters in the movie were. Who's your favorite character?
Patrick.
Patrick. I love Patrick. I love his opening scene where he makes fun of the teacher.
Oh, me too. That's when I started liking him.
Who's my favorite character?
Um, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, that's what I'm trying to. I like all three of the main characters. I like all three
Then
of
don't
them.
pick a main character.
Oh, I like the older sister a lot. If I had to pick a side character, I think the older sister's sweet.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna be a bitch, but then
She wasn't. Like the older siblings were both like popular kids, but then they were just so sweet to their baby brother. Like I really like them.
That makes me think that not to say that all older siblings bully their younger, but like that makes me feel like he's had problems when in the past, and they've just learned not to be mean with him. The fact that when he called his sister and she immediately knew to call the police,
Oh yeah,
kind of I was like, okay, something like this has happened before.
definitely. It seems like he's like had mental health issues since he was like 7 and his aunt died. Um,
Yeah.
and then his best friend committing suicide last year seemed to like double that. So
Yeah.
yeah, The one of the critiques I've seen about this movie is that they rush over his best friend committing suicide like really quickly, even though it's kind of like the character's main back one of the character Charlie's main backstory points. And I agree with that criticism. Like it's very rushed
Yeah, they
over.
kind of just forget about it.
Yeah, it's definitely is it's very important to just brush over like that. But maybe the book goes into it more. I've never read the book. I will at some point, but I haven't. What would you rate this movie?
I would give it a solid 3 stars.
That's fair. I'm gonna give it like 3 point like 7.5. Like not quite a 4, but like a bit above 3.5.
Yeah.
Like it's not the best movie ever, but it's so coming of age core in a way that's good, and I think it's a well made movie. I like it.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Telly Talk. This one was really short and interesting, and we're really quick because I have to go to the movies in 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. And I've been going to the movies a lot. Like I've gone to the movies in the past 3 weeks probably 9 times.
Bye.